We are flying over the vineyards right now.
You're like a bird.
Nestled in the heart of Germany's Rhine Valley is Wiesbaden and Rüdesheim, two hidden gems with rich histories, stunning landscapes, and unforgettable culinary experiences. Wiesbaden is one of Europe's oldest spa towns where elegant architecture, luxurious thermal hot springs, and tasty German eats can be found around every street corner. Just a little farther southwest is the neighboring riverside town of Rüdesheim. Framed by rows and rows of golden vineyards, it's easy to get lost in its charming medieval streets and quaint wineries.
Guten Morgen and hello from Wiesbaden, Germany. Just a couple of months ago, Claire and I were exploring southern Germany on a road trip through Bavaria, and we had so much fun that we were invited back by the German National Tourism Board to show you guys around another region here in Germany.
This time we are beginning our 12-day adventure in Wiesbaden, the wellness capital of Europe, and then we're heading over to Rheingau, a stunning wine region. So without further ado, let's get going.
If you didn't know, Wiesbaden is known for their thermal springs. They apparently have 26 major springs in this area. Behind me is one of their most famous ones. And what's interesting is because the springs have so many minerals in them, they actually oxidize and they form like this casing, I suppose, around the fountain, and it's this reddish color. But way back when the Romans had a settlement here 2,000 years ago, they used to collect that mineral and then bring it back to Rome. They would apparently mix it with some fat, and you could put it in your hair and it would dye your hair. Very random fact that I thought was really interesting. But I believe now we're gonna go and try some of this hot spring water.
Ooh, it's very warm.
Ooh, very hot.
Oh my gosh, this is my very first time drinking hot spring water. And weirdly, it actually tastes like the ocean. Like, it has this salty taste to it. It's almost like a seafood broth is what I would compare it to. But honestly, very, very good and very, very hot. So right next to the fountain, there is a whole list of all the minerals that are inside of the water. It is so cool to see that we just drank some of that.
As we've been walking around Wiesbaden with our guide Andreas, he has given us such a deep understanding of the city. And what's really interesting is that this was a really small town back in the early 1800s. It only had a population of about 2,000 residents, and by the end of the 1800s, it had over 100,000 residents. And it got so popular because basically the main ruler, the emperor of the time, he lived here, and it made everybody else want to live here.
Oh, yeah.
And they had over 80 five-star hotels, and that leads to one beautiful building that is right over there.
Yeah, it's called the Kur House, and you would think that it would be the spa house just because of the word Kur. It means spa, but it's actually the place where all the social gatherings took place. There were operas and theater. It was just a place where you could find community. And these days, the courtyard, which is called the Bowling Green, hosts a lot of recreational activities. So there are triathlons, and actually when we came in yesterday, there was an archery competition. So this place is not only a destination for rest and relaxation, it's also a destination for recreation. RR and R. Triple R.
Triple R.
We've just made it into a very charming chocolateria, which is said to have the best chocolate in town. This is very unique. We have a glass of milk and a glass of melted chocolate. I'm gonna mix it together and it's going to be absolutely delicious. My mouth is watering.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is you can mix as much chocolate as you want.
You're in charge of the ratio. You can make it more creamy if you want more milk. You can also make it more chocolatey. So we'll see what I do.
Yeah.
I love how interactive this is. Making my very own hot chocolate. This is very good. You can really taste the richness of the chocolate in there. And also because it's kind of gloomy, a little bit rainy outside, I just feel so cozy sitting in this chocolate shop. So I was asking this chocolate shop if they have anything that has an original recipe, and they said yes. This here is the Ananas-Torchen, which is kind of like a little pineapple tart. And this is what it looks like beforehand, but they were kind enough to chop it up for us. And just look at those gorgeous layers and the glisten of the pineapple. There's also a wafer with nougat stuffed on the inside. There is marzipan that's topped off with some almonds. almonds, and of course the gorgeous layers of chocolate in between each one of those beautiful layers.
The chocolate extravaganza continues. We have two liquid-filled chocolates. One is plum and one is pear, and I think we're both gonna try the pear.
The pear first. Yeah, this is our first time trying any chocolate that has like a liquid on the inside.
Yeah, like if we bit this, it would just spill out.
Yeah, no biting in half. All right,
Cheers.
Whoa. Whoa, is there alcohol? It shatters like this delicious alcoholic liquid into your mouth.
Liqueur.
It just fills the top of your tongue, and then the chocolate starts melting. Normally when you take a shot, you have the burn in the back of the throat, but the chocolate soothes it down.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, it's okay.
Yeah.
They're there.
It is officially time for lunch, and we have a very popular German street food to try. It's called currywurst. You can find this all over Germany, and essentially it is a kind of wurst, so a sausage, topped off with some curry and a chili powder, which makes it spicy.
And I got a hot version, and Claire got the mild.
And of course, comes with the bread.
Yes.
And then we have something special to wash it down with. This is a local soda chain, and they made this apple cherry elderberry red soda.
Yeah.
Very excited to try it. So let's give this a shot.
Yes. Looks really good.
Yeah, mine is drenched with the curry.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Can I
Curry on your face. Yeah, you do.
I need this napkin.
The curry is so sweet. Is yours sweet? Yeah, a little bit sweet, a little bit salty. And then mine, since it's mild, I don't have too much spice. How spicy is yours?
Just enough. Not too much at all.
Just enough.
So as you guys know, this region is known for their wines. So Claire, where are we now?
Well, we have made it over to a local winery that specializes in sparkling wine. Very excited. We're gonna try some of this bubbly goodness and get the first step in the door of why this region is so known for their wines.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We just saw more bottles of wine than I think I've ever seen in my entire life, and it was really cool because on this tour we were able to see the process of bottling wine, specifically sparkling wine.
Right.
It just goes through this conveyor belt, and they have, you know, the process for the bottles, and then the liquid, and then capping the liquid and putting the label on.
And then the barrels,
Yeah.
which were massive. Those are the biggest barrels I've ever seen in my life. And something I did not know is that Germany is the #1 country to consume sparkling wine. I always pair Germany with beer, but apparently sparkling wine is very, very popular amongst the locals.
And one final thing I wanted to note is that sparkling wine and champagne are two different things.
Yes.
Champagne comes from a region in France, whereas sparkling wine does not.
Right, and that is something that's often confused amongst Americans. We call any sort of like sparkling wine champagne, and that is incorrect.
Yes.
So, take note.
Yes. We've climbed aboard our cable car that is propelled using water, and it is from the late 1800s, and we're about to go up Narrow Mountain. And what's really cool about this cable car is basically the way it works is you have two cable cars. One will be at the top, one will be at the bottom. You fill up this one at the top with water so it's heavier than the one at the bottom. So then as it goes down, it lifts up the other one. Then you release the water from this one and add water to this one, and you can repeat the process over and over, allowing visitors to go up and down Narrow Mountain.
On the top of Narrow Mountain is the Russian Orthodox Church, which we can actually see from our hotel room. We look off in the distance and see those golden domes, and we are now standing in front of it. So it's kind of cool to finally be here visiting it up close and personal. So many people from Russian heritage come here to attend the services that still go on every Sunday, and also lots of Russian celebrities actually get buried in the cemetery here. we've made it to the most stunning wine bar on Narrow Mountain, and we both got a non-alcoholic Hugo just because I think we've had enough alcohol at the winery earlier. And then we also got Spundekäse, and this is a cream cheese that has paprika as well as onions and garlic in it, and anything with onions and garlic is very, very good in my opinion. But it also has the paprika sprinkled on top to give it this gorgeous color. And then there's a pretzel. This morning we are leaving Wiesbaden and driving 20 minutes out into the countryside into the Rhine region, which is the wine region that we were mentioning earlier. We have a full itinerary today and we'll be meeting up with our guide in just a little bit, but we're very excited to finally visit the Rhine Valley because we've heard wonderful things about this area. What a unique cable car. It really feels like a exhilarating ride. Yeah, theme park.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful. Oh my God.
Wow. We are flying over the vineyards right now.
You're like a bird.
It's like we're ascending into a fairy tale world. I cannot imagine a better way to start the day. We have 360 views of the Rhine Valley right now. The cool breeze is just waking me up. And my goodness, there are just birds flying all around us. Oh, this is so, so magical.
So many grapes. Like fields and fields of grapes in all directions.
Chad cannot stop talking about the grapes.
So many grapes, millions, look at them.
They're purple grapes, green grapes, and you see them just hanging off of these vines. They're so succulent.
Just want to go pluck one.
Yeah, I want to go pick one off to eat, but I don't know if you can eat these sorts of grapes. They might be reserved purely for wine.
You can eat any kind of grape.
Oh, I don't want the ride to be over, but I'm excited for everything else the day has in store for us. Our guide Christina came prepared. She brought 4 glasses and also some non-alcoholic wine. And as we sip on this liquid gold, we are looking out at the vineyards. And lucky day for us, they're actually harvesting a couple of the grapes to make wine. Apparently it's getting earlier and earlier just because it's getting warmer and warmer. But I just think that is so cool to be able to partake in the experience of drinking while we see them harvest the grapes.
Such a wonderful way to start the day with that non-alcoholic wine and the views of the Rhine. Oh, that rhymes. But now we're going back to the cable car to take it down back to the city, and we're going to be going to this museum all about automatic instruments. Thank you.
Thank you.
We had such a wonderful time at that museum. We were able to interact with the machines a lot more than I expected, and many of the machines were from like late 1800s all the way until like 1939, and each one was really special in its own way.
Yeah, that was the most whimsical experience I've ever had. It really did feel like you were interacting with treasures, because a lot of these things wouldn't exist if our guide's grandfather had not rescued them or restored them into its original state. And so it was such an honor for us to be able to hear those instruments. actually at the end, he was asking, does anyone play the piano? And we
we're
were
both
both
like,
like,
no.
Not really. It's been like at least a decade since I touched a piano. But we whipped out the muscle memory of Heart and Soul. We tried to play that on the organ, which was just, wow, I'm just gonna remember that forever.
Each instrument was used for a different purpose. It would either be in like someone's home or in like a hotel. Or that final organ that we played had all of these sound effects because it was used in a theater. Just so special.
And what I did think was really cool is that they would say these instruments could often replace, the actual real life piano players because they don't get sick. They can just keep playing and playing for hours. They're never tired. So I was like, wow,
Like automation.
Yeah. Let automation take over the world. For lunch today, we've come to a local winery that has such a beautiful ambiance, and above me is just a trellis of grapevines. But we decided to start off with 2 glasses of Riesling, as well as some Spundekäse and a large pretzel. That was so, so delicious. It was the same thing that we had yesterday, that cream cheese with onions, garlic, and paprika. And then I decided to go with their trout, just because it's locally caught. Chad went with the vegan Flammkuchen, and this is that very thin crust pizza with creme fraiche. Because it's vegan, it has so many colors, like a confetti of vegetables. It has greens, purples, yellows, and reds all across the top, so we're very excited to dig in.
After our incredible lunch, we came over to another spot that is very special because they are known for their dessert drinks. And what do we have here, Claire?
Yeah, so this is a special coffee and hot chocolate that has Asperg, which is a brandy local to the region and to the area of Rüdesheim. They have the brandy poured into the glass, and they have the sugar caramelizing with fire for a very long time. We watched them doing the whole presentation. They're stirring and stirring, and then they added the coffee and the hot chocolate on top afterwards. Of course, you've got the whipped cream to top it off, some chocolate flakes, and that was just such a cool show. Cheers!
Cheers.
So I don't know about how yours tastes, but with the hot chocolate, you can most certainly taste the burn of the alcohol in your throat, but then it's followed by the smoothness of the chocolate. Actually reminds me very much of the chocolate that we had in Wiesbaden yesterday, the alcohol chocolates. So it's almost like coming full circle for me at least. And then we also have ourselves a cinnamon and sugar chimney cake. You can see the glisten of the sugar on top, and you can see right through it like a telescope. Ooh, a nice hard shell on the outside.
Oh, it's like a slinky.
Oh my goodness, it's like, yeah, it's coming off like a spiral. Ooh, I got the perfect piece.
You always take the middle.
The inside is so soft, like a pillow. Outside is crispy. Cheers! Fantastic. Ooh, yeah, dip it in.
Innovation. Our next stop of the day is a stunning abbey named the Abbey of Eberbach, and it was known as the filming location for The Name of the Rose, which is like a really famous movie. But I believe we have a tour that's starting in just a few minutes, so we're gonna head inside.
Be careful, here are 2 thresholds.
Okay.
So this is one of my favorite stops in this tour because we just passed 12 of these machines, massive machines that are used to press the grapes in order to make wine. And there's one from 1600, another one from 1700, and one made from, I think, 1801. And what's funny is the design has not changed at all.
The most important takeaway that I got from our tour around the Abbey is that the life of a monk was very, very tough. It was so cold and hungry and tiring.
Yes.
Every single day, they would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to start their first prayer, and they would spend at least 7 hours praying and meditating, you know, doing what monks do. They made their life so tough because they didn't want to live a life of luxury. And so even though they were very, very hungry, they never ate till they were full.
Right.
And the things that they did eat were very simple, you know, like vegetable broth, and at one point they did decide to eat fish. And then at another point, they decided to eat anything that came from the water, and they called it fish, including beavers, I learned.
One of the rules that the monks also followed was that they were not allowed to have any heat in the monastery. So it was obviously very cold.
Yeah.
And we got to see where they lived. You know, all 150 monks would be laid out on these beds. And if someone was snoring, you would definitely have heard it.
Yeah.
Because
the
echo in that
was
room.
real. And they didn't have any blankets, of course. Covering the windows were just some wooden
Shutters.
Yeah. And so they're all shivering in there, very hungry, very tired.
And apparently their lifespan was only about 31 years on average, whereas I was asking, like, what do you think the average lifespan of like a farmer, you know, during that time? It's like maybe 41. So it's like they actually live longer if they're like a farmer, because they were allowed to use heat, you know, like they could go home after
and
working in the
rest.
fields and warm up with the fire.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It adds 10 years to your lifespan.
We've had such an incredible time here in Wiesbaden, and a huge thank you to the German National Tourism Board for hosting us. If you are interested in following along as we travel to 50 countries around the world and further explore Germany, then hit subscribe. And with all of that, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.